used to call you Pink Star Blast in the penitentiary, man. How are you, Pink Star Blast?
Pink Star Blast.
Pink Star Blast?
Pink Star Blast.
Infinergy. Pink Star Blast.
Pink Star Blast. Pink Star Blast.
Pink Star Blast. Infinergy. Oh man. Pink Star Blast. What up, baby? It's Garage Jim, homie, man. And today, I'm talking about why rehab doesn't work for drug addiction and alcoholism. Is it worth it? Before we get into this here, please click the subscribe button. I got content coming out all the dang time for you, man. So click subscribe and let's get into this, man. God bless all of you, man. I hope you're feeling amazing, living from your heart, staying out of your head where it's noisy. And, I just want to make more content about addiction, recovery stuff to be helpful to people and try and fulfill my purpose, man. Be a maximum service to God and the people around me, man. So, just to give you my credentials really quickly, as far as why I'm qualified to speak on this is, number one, I'm a recovered addict alcoholic, over 10 years sober. And I've been to 20 rehabs, 20. I've been to a ton of inpatient rehabs. I've been to I've been to one outpatient rehab, I think one. I've been to a ton of sober livings, detox centers. So I have a lot of experience. On the flip side of it, I have in sobriety, I've spoken at treatment centers for years. For over 6 years, I spoke at a local treatment center on the first Saturday of every month for 6 years to over 60 inpatients at a place here in Michigan. And I would give an hour and 15-minute lecture to them. And I'd pick up a lot of people there that I'd sponsor and stuff like that, and help and guide. And it was a big light to my life. And then COVID happened and they shut down the doors to outside speakers. So I wasn't able to do that. That's when I started the YouTube channel because I still wanted to connect with people and do my part to help addicts and alcoholics. And this channel has brought me so many opportunities, man. What a light to my life to be able to connect with people. So I just want to say this because the title of the video might be attention grabbing. I do think rehab does have a purpose. I don't think it's like some, evil institution that, it's a business. Rehab is a business. But people go there. Here's my problem with rehab. And I'm going to tell you, and there's a message of hope here. And that's really what I want to talk about. But there's some problems with rehab, which I want people who are possibly struggling or have family members that are struggling to be on guard for. It's a business. And as I said, I spoke at the treatment center for 6 years with this one treatment center. And some of the people saw me speak 4 or 5 times because they would keep coming back a year later, 6 months later. And they'd see me and I'd be like, I wish I had a new lecture for you. I only have the same old story, So they would see my story many times, but they just wouldn't get it because people go to rehab and think it's going to treat the illness of addiction and alcoholism. And it doesn't. It doesn't. Rehab has a purpose, man. Let's just talk about that. The purpose of rehab is basically to detox, to dry out. Because the AA program says we don't really work with people until they have a clear head. And so rehab's purpose that I see it is a place to go to clear your head, to detox off the alcohol or the drugs. And, because a lot of people don't have that power to just sit at home and put it down. They need rehab. When I sponsor somebody, I say, and they say, hey man, I can't stop, drinking or get high. I say, you got to look deep within yourself. First of all, I say, are you ready to be done for good? They say yes. I say, are you willing to do whatever it takes? They say yes. I say, well, you got to sit still and listen to your heart. And you got to decide if you can just stop at home and just put it down, or if you need to go somewhere, for a few days or a week or whatever it is, and dry out and so you can clear your head so we can get to work. And I just want to say, when I finally got sober for good, I didn't go to rehab. I was ready to be done for good. I detoxed at home. The doctor gave me the right medication. I detoxed. I never looked back. I got right down to business doing the work that I'm about to talk about. So a lot of people, they go to rehab and they think, oh, I've been clean for a week. They start feeling good, a week or two, or some of the programs are 30 days, 90 days, whatever. But none of the work has been done to treat the illness of alcoholism and addiction. They're really the same person walking out of the rehab with none of the internal work that's been done. And it's really the same exact reason I say AA meetings don't work. And AA meetings aren't meant to treat the disease of alcoholism and addiction. They're meant to be a little piece of the puzzle. I go to an AA meeting because I'm there to help someone who doesn't have the treatment for the disease, and I'm there to talk about the treatment. But sitting at a table for an hour a day and talking and spewing your guts about whatever is not going to treat this right here. Okay, that's nice and all. And just like going to a rehab for a week or a month or a year, I don't care, that alone does not treat addiction or alcoholism. So the problem is people walk out. Every single time I went to jail or prison or rehab, I walked out of there the same exact person as I walked in there as. That's the problem. I walked out of there the same person. I have plans in my head, my illness centers in my head, so my plans center in my head. So the problem with rehab, first of all, they teach a lot of stuff that isn't true. And I just want to, I'm just going to give it to you straight, man. They teach, number one, I always heard at rehab, like always, that this alcoholism, this illness that I have is going to be a lifelong struggle to stay sober. And that's not a message of hope. That's a message of, man, that sounds freaking horrible. That whole one day at a time message, one day at a time. When I hear one day at a time, I'm thinking, I'm struggling just to get through just to get through the day, one day at a time. I'm struggling just to get through the day sober. Maybe tomorrow I'll get high, but today I'm sober. All that craziness, man, all those one-liners that just don't work for us, And the other thing so it's okay to say you're done for good. When we don't say we're done for good, we're giving our illness, we're giving our head a chance to creep in and destroy us. Okay, so my experience with sobriety has been, it's not a struggle. It's been the biggest gift I've ever received in my life. Do you see the difference between a gift and a struggle? And I would explain this to people at the treatment center, and I would get people fired up, man, about sobriety, that this does not have to be this lifelong battle to stay so 1 second at a time. It's like, it's okay to say you're done for good. I wouldn't have sat across from my family and made amends to them if I thought there was a chance I'd ever have to go back and make amends again. We don't want to give our illness a back door to say, well, one day at a time, maybe tomorrow, and then the disease, creeps up on you. So they teach you that it's a lifelong struggle. And I can't speak for every rehab in the world, man. I'm only speaking from my experience. Please don't get me wrong. If you had a different experience, please comment below. The other thing is, they teach stuff that's therapeutic there, okay? They teach things about triggers. And if the message of hope I come to bring you is that there are no triggers. If you treat your illness with what I'm about to tell you, there are no triggers. I don't see some old friend I used to get high with and, oh my God, my heart, I got to jump in his car and get high, I'm triggered. Or, oh, I walked in the liquor store, there's alcohol, I'm triggered. Watch for people, places, and things that trigger you. Everything's a trigger. So AA works. And when I say AA, I'm not talking about AA meetings. I'm talking about the actual program of AA, which is the 12 steps. And I've never met anybody who's gone through all 12 steps from their heart and they came back to me and said, you know what, that really didn't work for me. I mean, that's my experience, and I've sponsored hundreds of people. You know, every time someone says, well, AA doesn't work, I come to find out that they went to meetings and they didn't follow through with all 12 steps out of the book, and then they say it didn't work. So unless you've gone through all 12 steps and then you tell me it didn't work, I would be open to a dialogue with you. But so there's no real emphasis on the 12 steps. And I'll never say that the 12 steps are the only way to get sober. I don't believe that. I believe that spirituality is the way to get sober. And that the 12 steps are just a blueprint and an avenue on how to do that, a perfect blueprint and a perfect avenue. And I'm very grateful for them, because I wouldn't have known how to build a relationship with God or higher power, whatever term you want to use. I say God, without the 12 steps and without good sponsorship. So the problem with rehab is it tells you that this disease is a lifelong struggle. And I'm telling you, from my experience and the people I sponsor who followed through with the steps, it's not. It's a gift. There's no struggle involved. There's no fight. My obsession I'm a recovered addict alcoholic, meaning my obsession to drink and get high has been completely removed from me. And there are no triggers. That's the other thing. So if my illness centers here in my head, I can't think my way out of this thing. I can't go to my head for the answer. I got to go to here. And that's what the 12 steps do. They get you, without getting into too much detail, they get you out of your head and they get you into your heart. And that's why rehab doesn't work for people, because people think they're going to go there and they're gonna dry out and they're gonna start feeling amazing and having some laughs and putting on some weight and feeling good. And they walk out of there untreated, the same exact person as they were, and they don't stay sober. So the answer is, if you're going to go to rehab, which is fine, know that its purpose is to detox off the drugs or alcohol, clear your head, so you can get down to business on the real work, the real treatment for the disease, which is the 12 steps, or living a spiritual life. I highly recommend the 12 steps, and having a sponsor who's by the book, getting a sponsor immediately who's by the book, the AA Big Book, to take you through the steps at once, right away. Because every second that you get out of rehab and you wait to move forward with the 12 steps immediately, you're giving your illness a chance, your head, to creep in and say, hey man, you could take your time. You don't really need to do that, and you relapse. You relapse. And I don't even know if it's a relapse, because you never really treated the disease, I guess it's a relapse. But so I'm just telling you, the message of hope is that if you do these 12 steps, and I've made a lot of videos about them, I'm gonna make more. There are no triggers. You don't have to live one day at a time staying sober. Sobriety is a gift, not a struggle. And there's no more fight. And you can recover and be a recovered addict and alcoholic. And the obsession to drink, it's not a lifelong struggle. And so if you go into rehab knowing that, and you get to work immediately in rehab on these steps out of the book, or the second you walk out the door, you will ensure that you will never look back. But if you think you're going to go to rehab and walk out of there the same person as you walked in there as, you're setting yourself up for failure. So I hope that brings you a message of hope. Too much thinking in rehab, a lot of therapeutic group. How do you, deal with this and that? And it's a lot of thinking. And with the 12 steps, and I'm not saying there's not value in it or whatever, but it's just not how you stay sober. It might give you some tools or some life or whatever it is. But to stay sober, it doesn't take a bunch of thinking involved. It takes living from here and building a spiritual life and a relationship with God, I believe deep down in my heart that God is the only way. And the 12 steps will give you an avenue on how to build a relationship with God. That's what they do. So that's what I got for you. I hope you're feeling amazing. Please feel free to comment below. God bless all of you. Together, let's get this dang muscle, man. I'm out.